Good morning, all. So we continue on this conversation until December the 1st, right? So we're talking about Caribbean social problems, right? Caribbean social problems. It is not only Caribbean, it's international. All my issues, all the issues that I speak about are relatable on an international level, right? So we are talking about this problem, right? And it's a religious problem that we have in the Caribbean due to our past, due to forced religion upon us as a people, regardless of what our religion is, right? And I want to talk about the concept about religious trauma and scare tactics, right? Religious trauma and scare tactics, right? So and this is, and I've spoken about this several times actually in the course of my videos, right? And it is talking about really helping pastors and imams and scholars even, right, who teach this knowledge, right, whether it's Islam, whether it's the Bible, right, helping you all to stop scaring people, right. What we are trying to do, right, or what the aim should be, is to ease people, right. If you are amongst those who assist people into, right, a pathway that is transitioning them from life to death, or transitioning yourself from life to death, right, to not to be amongst those who apply scare tactics upon people, right, meaning that telling somebody, hey, your soul is going to be in this place for eternity, or that place for eternity, right, because if it is one is transitioning from life to death, you want to know for a fact that, hey, I am going to be in a better place, right? I am going to be in a better place. So focus less on, we are trying to focus less, right? So this is to help the church. This is to help the masjids, right? And all others who teach online, right? And online spiritual and religious communities, right? To stop, to focus more on the practice and living and daily living and teachings rather than the scare tactics, right? Because these things are fabrications of what is known as the dark occult, right? The occult hidden dark world, right? Scare tactics, right, is fabrications of occult dark worlds, right? Demonic worlds, right? And we don't want to get into that, or to start to frighten people like that, in terms of scaring you, in terms of approaching death. When we are talking about dying and death, that should be talked about in a celebratory way, right? You are liberating yourself, or you are assisting others to liberate themselves, right? Or others are assisting you to liberate yourself, right? Meaning the final exit from this physical world. So we withdraw from things from the worldly realm, right? Until we reach a point where, hey, I am ready to let go, and let go of this life fully and completely, right? And transition from this world to another world, right? So the focus should be on helping people to live a righteous lifestyle, as opposed to saying, hey, do this and you will be condemned forever. Don't do this or you'll be condemned forever, right? So we are trying to ease up on that judgment, right? That form of judgment, rather ease people into a righteous life, right? Rather than, hey, you do this, you're in hellfire for however long, right? And this however long, this be eternity in your religions, right? So come over onto our side in terms of adopting the approach, right? Meaning that, hey, soften your approach and how you teach people about facing consequences, because one is a lie, right? Your religions are lying to you and to others, right? You don't face any judgment for eternity, right? There is no that damnation forever and ever, right? You do a little wrong in your life, right? And I cannot don't emphasize this point. You do a little wrong in your life, you have to face some consequences. You'll lose some stuff, you'll lose some money, you'll lose some belongings, you'll lose maybe a person or two in your life, right? That's how consequence work. It's not that you're going to be in this place forever and ever and ever. Right? So that's what there is nothing like immortality, right? It's just to break that, the immortality, right? Or the soul, the entity that you are being immortal, right? is a false concept, right? We are not here for everlasting, ever and ever, right? So we are breaking that concept of what, if you were taught that hey, you are here forever and ever, right? We are not here forever and ever, right? We will one day leave the earth, right? But what I'm referring to is the concept about how we approach this, right? And to not frighten people into it, right? Because this is religious trauma, right? This causes trauma, psychological trauma, right? As I was saying, that is the reason why people have church hurt, they leave the church, leave these religions, and so on, is because nobody wants to hear. There's no one on earth who wants us hear. Hey, well, if I develop feelings for this person, or if I think, or if I do tip something once in my life, or if I go through some temporary phase in my life, that I'm going to be in a particular place burning up forever and ever, right? Nobody wants to hear that, right? And secondly, is untrue, right? No one wants to hear it, and two, is untrue, right? So we are breaking that illusion, right? Now, you do some wrong, you face the consequences. You go back and you do some wrong, you're going to face the consequences again. You go and do some wrong again, you do that, and that's how reality works until you leave this earth, right? So it's a matter of you slowly changing your life practice to acknowledge that hey, there are consequences to my behavior on earth, right? So that eventually you receive only positive consequences because you live in a life, right, that is aligned with positive consequences, right? So that's a problem I want to address, dealing with that religious trauma, right? And I've given a solution you can adopt from other ways of life and other mechanisms, other religions, other practices to incorporate into your teachings at the church, your teachings at the masjid, right? And I've seen some scholars do it, and I was happy to see that, right? So it's just for others who are this hardline approach in terms of how you approach things and scare people, right? So that's this conversation. So we'll talk tomorrow.